because my dad was the same way. He worked his job, but he was always making money doing other things. I don't count like what I make on anything. All the mortgages I've closed this year, I cannot tell you how much I've made on any deal.
What are your thoughts on work-life balance?
That's a tough one, right? Especially if you're starting a new business. You've got to figure out a way to do it. I always took that and I took that to heart. And so I had my fun, but I was up and I was doing what I needed to do. And I've never let that stop me. And so really until probably the last couple of years is that she's actually realized like, holy shit, like you're a little different, you know? And I'm like, good. I'm glad you acknowledged that.
Where do you think that part of you came from? Like why, like you're just genetically wired to not have an off switch?
No, I think that was a learned thing because my dad was a super hard worker and I get up super early. My dad got up at 4 a.m. and he didn't have to be at work until 7, but he is the type that he liked to be at work early. And I think that transitioned into me where I do the same thing. I get up at 4 a.m. because I like those hours before the day starts. And I get to put my mind to paper, have my coffee. I get to structure my day. Because I say it all the time, if I didn't have those hours of just my time, me time, and getting my day ready, I don't know what the heck the day would look like. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how somebody gets up at 7 and goes to work at 8. That blows my mind. So when I was younger, those 4 a.m.s were going to the gym religiously. And then I didn't have everything on my plate, I do now, but it came from him because even on the weekends we'd go to school and he would wake us up at 5 a.m. and we had to work and we were always working outside. We had like 10, 15 acres doing fencing or baling hay. He had us working on the weekends. We weren't those kids that got to sit around and not do anything. If he saw us sitting down watching TV, he had something for us to do. And so I think just that environment and being in it all the time, you didn't have a choice, but work was work. And so I've never been a big TV guy. I've been a sports guy, but not a big TV guy. But when I look at my brothers and I see the way that they're made up and the things that they do, they're exactly the same. Like my brother has a really big construction company, but I look at what he's done and he's got the same makeup. And I'm like, it came from him. And it came from my mom to have that solid background for him to be able to do what he did. Because my dad was the same way. He worked his job, but he was always making money doing other things. And he got home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but his day didn't stop at 3. He was out doing other stuff. But he was a hands labor kind of guy. And I guess just seeing that and just like, hey, you don't have time to be lazy. The lazy thing just wasn't part of it. So whenever I come across that, I'm like, come on, man. You have all this additional time, like use it. And I think that's when I was younger with the direct TV business. And we got to a point where it was, I was done by 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, I felt bad because I'm like, I have all this extra time. I need to be doing something with it. And then that's what made me get into FEMA. That's what made me get into mortgages, right? Because I was like, if I have all this extra time, why am I not using it to make more money? I'm like, I'm just satisfied because I built this and it's making money and now I can go party. I could, but I needed to get into something else as well. I just don't see a lot of people doing that. And they should, because everybody's striving for that American dream and they want that perfect picture, but it comes from hard work.
I'm curious, like what keeps you motivated to keep working hard when you've already got the material success and, after you make, I think they say after your first like 200 grand a year or something, more money obviously gives you more options and freedom, but doesn't substantially like increase your quality of life. What keeps you motivated to keep building and growing so like ferociously?
I think the purpose, man. Obviously you want to leave your kids in the best situation, but I have a plan where they just don't just get stuff. They're going to have to create milestones to receive things. Because I think the worst thing you can do is just hand it to them because you done created somebody weak-minded, just had everything handed to them. So everything that you did to build, to give them, they're going to lose it immediately because they don't have the mindset to keep it. So that's where I try to pour education into them. I tell myself I'm going to go hard for 5 years and then we'll see where we're at in 5 years and then maybe I'll chill. My dad died early. He died at 65 years old and I watched him work really, really hard all of his life. And the time that he was about to relax, he ended up catching cancer and he died within 2 weeks, so it was like a shock to everybody. But I saw that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be that, I want to enjoy life. But number one thing that I realized years ago was like, you can have the money and you can have all that. And it's a true statement. Money doesn't buy happiness. The only thing money does is it lets you go to sleep at night, knowing that you don't have any worries when it comes to paying whatever you need to pay for. You know that you're good. That's not a stress. But what are you doing? What are you doing on a daily basis to help people? What are you doing to help family? What are you doing to pour into people? And I get more gratification of opening something and putting people to work and helping them level up. And I think that's more important to me than probably any of the money. The money comes, and you can ask Vanessa, I don't count like what I make on anything. All the mortgages I've closed this year, I cannot tell you how much I've made on any deal. I have
Really?
no idea.
That shocks me, actually.
I do not know, right? If you told me, hey, you made this much on this particular deal, that would be news to me because I don't look. I honestly lead with, if I do it for the right reason, and I'm very faith-based, right? I'm very, very Christ-based, where if I'm doing it for the right reason, I already know God's going to take care of me. And I've lived my life that way. And there never has been a time where I'm like, what am I going to do? As long as I go that way, I'm like, man, it all works itself out. So I never look at a dollar figure on anything that I do. I just know that when I look at the account, there's money there. And that's how I lead. And so any new business or venture I'll look at somebody that's learning and somebody that's willing to learn, and I'll pour as much into them as I can. And because if I can see them get success, that joys me 10 times over the amount of money that we're going to make off of it. I could care less about that. As long as we can keep it going and I can pay bills and everything's fine, the rest of it will work itself out. Because if you have that mindset and you're doing those things, the people around you are going to kill themselves for you because they see that it's genuine. They see it's authentic. Like, it's not about the money for him. Yeah, he's going to make a good living and that's just part of it, but he's not trying to be overly like get over on me to get his.
Could you describe the role that you feel God has played in your success? Journey?
In mine, I think that, I talked to my cousin years ago. I remember being in Tallahassee, Florida at an office, and he came to work for me. And I remember I was sitting at TGI Fridays and I asked him, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, do you ever get the feeling that you're supposed to be doing something, but you just don't know what it is? And he kind of got like a little irritated and was like, you can't be questioning God like that. I'm like, I'm not questioning. You never have the deep feeling that you're supposed to be doing something that you just can't figure out what it is. And he's like, that's not how it works. God places you where you're supposed to be. It's not for you to try to figure out. It's not a puzzle. And so I remember that all resonated with me. And it hasn't been until many years later that I was like, oh, he put me here to teach, because if I can teach and I can follow his word, right, and I lead with everything with him, I will always be taken care of. And so as I look at everything, it's like, okay, in any conversation, how can I give substance to somebody that could be useful with that information? What can they use for me in my life and my wisdom I've created over the years, and give that to them, because now they can do much more with what I have and they can be better off. And then somebody that is starting a business and I can give them some of my things that I did. What I did was wrong, right? And where I made mistakes. And it's like, give them that, because now they're better off because they talk to you. And so it took me years to kind of like figure that out. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to lead and teach. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do. I'm supposed to lead and teach my children. I'm here to lead and teach my wife, and I'm here to lead and teach whoever wants to listen.
How did you find such like the clarity that was your purpose? Because I feel like that's the biggest thing that people struggle with in life, is like uncovering their purpose.
As a Christ follower, it really is like giving everything to him. One of the things that you see in people is that they say it, but they don't do it. And it's just like, no, I can't just go and do this because I've got to take care of this. And what if this doesn't work out? Then what am I going to be? Well, then you're not giving your whole self to it, because if you gave your whole self, then you already know the answer. The answer is going to be that it's going to be fine. It's going to work out. As long as I can remember, and being a kid, I remember thinking, no matter what obstacle I have in life, I already know it's going to be okay. I don't know if that's unique to me, but I hope most people think that way. You tell me.
Did somebody teach you that?
No, that's just always been an internal feeling. And because of that, I'm not scared to take chances. If I was, or if I didn't feel that way, then maybe, yeah, I can't do that, because then this is going to put us in this situation and then we're not going to figure it out. It's like, no, you've got to be 100%. When you go into something, you got to 100% believe in what you're doing. Because if you have any doubts, those doubts are going to grow, man. They will always grow, because as soon as something goes wrong, because it's just part of it. Right? Things are going to go wrong. There are going to be hard days. And if you have doubts, well, now you're feeding that doubt. But if you go in and you're like, it's going to be fine. I know it is because I have faith it's going to be okay. And so when you have those tough days, you're like, yeah, this is just part of it. This is part of the journey. And we're going to get through this. And on the other side of this, it's going to be much better. And I learned. Now I know not to do that again.
Do you feel like, is there a certain number of hard days before you realize that it's time to pivot? Like, at what point is somebody deluding themselves that they should keep going versus just having faith that it's all going to work out?
I mean, you have to be able to kind of read the writing on the wall, like any business and with the emergence of AI. So even in businesses that I have, I've already started pivoting, right? Because I already know that it's going to be affected. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to wait until it happens. We have to start maneuvering around it. But if I were to wait, then I'm going to get crushed with it just like everybody else, right? So you got to be forward thinking. The number one thing, always be looking forward, not behind you. If you're looking behind you and looking at your success behind you, you've already failed, right? Because you're like, hey, you're not seeing what's coming ahead. There's things coming ahead always. So that's one of the things, that be forward thinking of what you can do to better whatever situation and what obstacles are coming, and try to pivot around that. It's like, okay, then you gotta get creative, and you may have to throw a bunch of stuff at a wall, and then finally it may take 50 things and you're like, that's the one. And it's the other thing is having conversations with other people that are like-minded and are in certain businesses of you, and get feedback from them and see what obstacles they're hitting. And then you kind of put all of that together and like, okay, I got a game plan. Everything should be game planning. And if you're not game planning and you're just trying to survive, that's where you're like, hey, well, maybe this isn't going to be it. Because if you're in survival mode all the time, then you're not doing the work. That's really what it comes down to. They're like, when we talk about mortgages, the mortgage coaches that we're talking, even in this tough environment, there's still people crushing $200-300 million a year in this industry right now. What are those guys doing that's different than the guy that's having trouble closing one deal a month? I promise you that guy's constantly pouring into his business. He's doing things that are going to help his business. He's forward thinking. He's constantly trying to get to the next move. When we were talking to Gabe earlier, you can see that he's already forward thinking of other stuff. And I think that's what you have to do. If you're doing one loan a month, are you not on the calls? Because that's something that they talk about. They're like, be accountable. What did you do today to better your business today? And what did you do yesterday? You're like, hey, if I did all this yesterday, I'm good for the rest of the week. You got to do better again today than yesterday. And if you're not, then guess what? You're going to close one deal a month and you're probably out of the industry within the next 6 months. While this other guy is constantly getting better, constantly working on his craft, trying to perfect it. And in 6 months, he may grow from $50 million to $75 million. He's scaling up. How? In this industry, in this environment right now, right? Because he's doing the work. You can't get away from that doing the work. And that's what I see with a lot of people that are opening businesses, and they like the title. Like, I'm a business owner. And it's like, that's great, but what is it doing, right? And it's like, just saying that, if you're about titles, the heck with the title, you can call me a janitor. I don't care, It's about trying to get the business to move. And one of the biggest myths is like, well, I'm my own company, and so I have this freedom, and I can do all this. No, you work twice, if not 3 times as hard than somebody that goes to a 9 to 5. You will smoke them out of the water if you're really pouring into your business. And if you think, hey, I'm going to take these beautiful vacations and I want to have this week off. I can't remember the last time I took a vacation that I wasn't working. And it's been 25 plus years. It doesn't matter where I've been. One of the biggest things I used to love is we would go to Dominican Republic or something like that years ago, and I didn't have phone access. So nobody could reach me. And I remember for those hours throughout the day that I didn't have phone access, it was amazing, right? Because you're like, I'm unplugged. No, as much as whatever it is, I'm unplugged and I can enjoy. But as soon as that thing came on, you're like, here we go. And so I think that's one of the things where somebody that's looking to open a business, it's like, no, man, like, I hope you're ready, like, buckle up. But if you do it right, it's the most rewarding thing that you'll do.
What are your thoughts on work-life balance?
That's a tough one, right? Especially if you're starting a new business. You've got to figure out a way to do it. And so, funny enough, I was just talking to Vanessa the other day. She's a realtor. She does a couple other little things, and she was asking me about the work-life balance and how that she can do it all. And I don't know if maybe she just watches me and she's like, I want to be like that, maybe not to your extent. but try to be that way. But she has the kids. And I'm like, the only way that I can do it is because I have to get up at 4 a.m. I go, that's my sacrifice. I'm like, I go to bed at 10, I get up at 4. I'm like, I know that you are an 8 to 9 hour sleeper, but if you're going to be sleeping that much, I was like, then it's not going to work. I'm like, just think about it. I'm gaining 3 hours a day on you. That's 21 hours a week. That's 84 hours a month. I was like, I'm gaining 3.5 days on you in a month. What is that in a year? And what is that over 5 years? So your competition is doing that. Who do you think wins?
That hit hard.
But that's reality.
Wow.
Right? And I used to tell my business partner that because he was like that. He's a 7, 8 o'clock sleeper and he has to get a sleep. And that's great. But I'm like, look how much more life. I'm like, when we add up a 25-year cycle of that, that's a lot of life that I've lived while you were sleeping. Only those hours.
Do you feel like your mind or just energy levels are affected by getting only 6 hours of sleep, or do you feel like you function perfectly fine?
I've been like that forever.
Yeah.
When I sleep 8 to 9 hours, like if it's a weekend and I sleep till 7 in the morning or something, it actually throws me off. Like it messes with me. It's like I'm not dialed in that day.
So do you wake up at 4 on the weekends too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm not dialed in as much. And like it messes with my psyche a little bit. I'm like, oh man, I got 9 hours. Like I feel great. Like, body needed it. But mindset wise, I'm off. And I've noticed that I'm off, and go right back to it the next day. Like you work out, right? So you decide not to work out for a couple of days and you eat garbage food and, you decide to pound some pizza and some beers the night before, but you're going to work out in the morning, you got a boot camp or whatever you're going to do. You're not there. You're there, but you're not, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get through it, but you're going to walk away going, man, that was not a good session. Right?
Totally.
Right.
What do you do during those 3 hours every morning?
I get up, I have my cup of coffee. I kind of like a zone out for a little bit. And then I'm just kind of like, just letting like my mind just kind of get its rhythm for the day. And that usually takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I used to get up and go to the gym and then I dive into work, so if I'm up at 4:45, I'm clocked in. And so from 4:45 to about 7:30, I'm going. And so at 7:30, I stop, I go downstairs, sit down with my daughter while she eats breakfast. And I spend those 15, 20 minutes with her eating breakfast and talking to her and giving her kisses and sending her off to school and telling her to have an amazing day. And then after that, I take my shower and I'm collecting back in at 8 o'clock and here we go. Because at 8 o'clock, all hell breaks loose. And you have different companies and different people and they're all calling. Monday mornings, forget about it, man. Like everybody's calling from the weekend. Mortgage wise, you have realtors, you have underwriters, you have on the FEMA side, you got claims coming in, you got people calling about their claims, you have all of that, then you have other businesses. Right. And now we got the lighting company. So we got all that stuff coming in now. And so you're like, when I say I'm on the phone all day, like I'm on the phone all day, so it's like you got a time block and then do that. But to answer your question, I guess it's time blocking. That's my time blocking, right? That's where I can focus and I can get that day going. Once that's done, then I can handle the day. And then I typically will finish it off around 5 or 6. I'll take some calls so about 6 and about 7 o'clock, 6:30, we eat dinner and we kind of unwind a little bit. And if I get a phone call or text, I can answer them. But now I'm kind of just hanging out with the family. So I try to keep that as my work-life balance. So they can see me in the evenings. They know I'm there. We can kind of chill and hang out. And then we get 9 o'clock, start rolling around. Everybody knows that's time to shut it down. And everybody gets ready for bed. And then we start it over again. One of the guys from the BNI that we're talking, he was talking to me the other day and he goes, how do you do everything and still get to spend time with the family where the wife is not on you? And again, it goes back to that conversation, right? She got out of my way and let me do it. And I'm like, but dude, we take a lot of trips. The time that we have is a lot of quality time. I'm like, we've been to like 4 or 5 different places this year together as a family for like a week. Like I might be working on those trips, but I'm up at 4 a.m. I still get up at 4 and I'll work till 9, 10 o'clock and we're on vacation because it takes them time to get ready. I've already knocked out 6 hours worth of work and then we go enjoy our day. That's kind of how I balance it all.
Okay, that's cool. So it's not like you're hanging out with the family just on your phone the whole time.
No, I try not to do that. Usually I try to shut it down. Like, and we're on vacation, like I'll try to, shut it down as much as I possibly can. I try to, like, I'll say, hey, I'm gone. My assistants are going to have to step up while I'm out. And then if I see something come over, it's automatically forwarded. And it takes time to build good guys like that. But, once you get there, it makes things a little easier. But, I mean, we've been to California for a week. We've been to Florida for a week. We've been to Orlando for another week. We're going to New York City for Christmas this year. We'll be there for 7-8 days. And other trips that we're going to Austin on Sunday. We'll be there till Wednesday, Thursday. And so, yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm spending time with them. We're getting together as a family, and that's the stuff that they get to look forward to. But we wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't put in the time and everything throughout the year. So that's kind of how we manage that. So they get to get spoiled a little bit due to some of the work that we put in.